If you asked a lot of people, what's your growth plan? What are you doing to grow yourself? They either would not have one, or it would be like I told you before, well, I'm learning this and I'm learning that. But the growth aspect of that is, no. How are you changing yourself to become a better person in this world?
Hello out there. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Business Gold, a business leader's journey. This week, we have Ashley Wright from Wright Level Leadership. He's going to drop some knowledge on us about leadership and several things about starting his new business here in Sumter. Now let's turn it over to Jen.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Business Gold, a business leader's journey. We're so excited for you to be here with us today. I am thrilled about today's guest. So everybody that's in leadership, they absolutely positively know about Maxwell books. Well, guess what? We have somebody today that is going to give us a deep dive into exactly what leadership through using those Maxwell techniques really is like. So today we have Ashley Wright from Wright Level Leadership, who is here in Sumter and has this amazing new business that we can all take a peek into today and see how, maybe he can help us, he can help our business. Either way, he's here in Sumter, he's here to help, and he is here today for us to chat with. So I'm super excited. Welcome, Ashley.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, Jennifer.
Absolutely. So tell me all about your business, because this is like the coolest concept ever. And I really don't know that we have anything like that here in Sumter.
Okay. So it really all started. So first of all, let me just say this. So I have been a long time John Maxwell follower.
Oh, me too.
Everybody jokes about his CDs that he sent out late 90s, early 2000s, and I was a subscriber of those, listened to them, and tried to pass them around to as many people as I possibly could, because the information that he was even putting out then was gold. And it's been funny. So throughout my career, I have just said, I wonder what it would be like to work with John Maxwell. Because he, to me, is the epitome of valuing people.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that statement. That's great. Yeah.
And leadership. And I will say, meeting him personally and being able to talk to him, everything that I knew about John Maxwell is him, John Maxwell. He is who he says he walks the walk, Walks
the walk and talks the talk.
Yes, he does. So I, back in June of last year, started looking for my next best career. And just started seeing what else was out there that I could be involved in. All along, I have had this idea of how can I value people? How can I help people? And it has been a long time feeling of mine that companies, big or small, somewhere along the way have stopped valuing the process of training people in leadership.
Absolutely.
And the problem with that is when you get in a leadership role, if you are not ready for that, and when I say ready, I'm not talking about being an expert. I'm just saying you know how to talk to people, you know how to value people, and when you walk in those situations, when you are going to interact with people, that there's got to be a difference in you the way you treat those people.
Right.
If not, that's not a good place to be.
And we've all been to those places. We've felt that before.
We have. Yeah. Yep. So last August, I got this random email. And so as long as I have been following John Maxwell, I have never received an email in my personal email box or anywhere else around the opportunity to join the John Maxwell team. And I looked at that and I went to my wife. I was like, what do you think about this? She's like,
you're crazy.
That's exactly right. I'm not real sure about this. So with that, there was a phone number to call for your free consultation. So I did. The gentleman I talked to kind of explained what the process was. Honestly, it sounded like everything that I wanted in my next growth opportunity and what I could do for people.
Right.
I told him, I said, it's great. Let me talk it over with my wife. Let me go pray about it. Let me make sure that this is right for me right now in my life, and I'll give you a call back. He's like, yep, that's fine, no pressure. So did that, prayed about it, we talked about it with my wife, and my wife was like, just go ahead, just do it, see what happens. So first of all, my wife has been super supportive through this whole thing.
Let's slip a little thank you into the wife there.
No doubt, no doubt. Through this, she has been incredible because it has been a walk of faith. It's been a different situation to be in because you're used to paychecks every 2 weeks for 26 years, and now you're getting paid when you're working with a client and the business is, or the job is done, you know?
Right.
It's a different place to be.
Absolutely.
So that's scary.
And that's definitely a family decision. That's not nothing you can do on your own.
Correct. Yep.
And you have a family. It's not just you and your wife.
That's correct. Got a 15 and a half year old daughter.
Bless your heart.
I know. Yes.
And is she rotten? Is she daddy's little girl?
She is. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She will tell you the contrary, but deep down she knows.
It's because of her age.
Exactly. Yes. But it's been so being able to be with her since June of last year has been incredible.
Absolutely.
So just to see her grow and develop and things like that, it's been really cool for this last year. So been very thankful for that. Been very blessed to be able to do that.
Yes.
But so to get back into kind of my journey, so I did that, called back and said, look, this sounds like a thing for me. I'm going to pay in full. I'm ready to go. So got into that. And then, so the whole story is just really cool.
We want to hear it. That's why you're here. We're
All right,
so
all
excited.
right.
Go for it.
So-
Don't leave anything out.
Okay. All right. So, so started doing some of the studying because so when you get into the curriculum, not only are you eligible to read and teach from some of the books, which is my curriculum that I teach from.
Absolutely.
I don't bring anything that is Ashley Wright. Everything is John Maxwell or Maxwell Leadership material. So it is world class and has proven through the years to make a difference in people's leadership abilities. So anyway, I digress. But
You get excited.
I do.
And that's good. That shows that enthusiasm that other people can gain from what you've learned.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it does light a fire when I start talking about this. Started studying and learning. And then twice a year, and they just had it first week in August, or I guess the last week in August, they have what they call the International Maxwell Certification. And it's where new Maxwell team members go to get certified. And that's changed a little bit, and I found that out back in March. But in March, I went to Orlando and went through the certification. It's a 3-day drink from a fire hose, the most positive environment I have ever been in my life. So it is a resort down in Orlando where they open up literally the whole wing of ballrooms and that kind of stuff. 3,000 people
Wow.
come onto site, and it is nothing but growth for 3 days. Networking, talking to people who's been in it since 2013, just incredible. And everybody was so supportive. And I called my wife. I was like, this doesn't even seem like it's natural. I mean, I've been to conferences and I've been to places where everybody is in cliques. And when you walk into a room, you can almost pick out the people that you are not going to be able to have a conversation with.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I told my wife, I said, day 2, I started picking those people out in the room. 45 minutes later, after an in-depth conversation, and we're late to the next session, we had to break the conversation off and go into it. Everybody was
Friends
like that.
for life.
Oh, yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
So we walk into that. So, throughout this process, I'm getting certified and we're getting this. So they changed the mentality or the legacy of the John Maxwell team to Maxwell Leadership. The whole premise behind that is John Maxwell, he's getting up in age. He just celebrated 75 years young, still going strong. Still, he says he's got a bunch of books left in him and wants to grow.
We can't wait for those.
I know. But they changed the name of the entity that was John Maxwell team and all the companies that were with him to Maxwell Leadership. The intentionality behind that is now it's a legacy. Mark Cole is the CEO of the company now and runs so many of his companies. But now, if John Maxwell decides tomorrow that, you know what, I don't feel effective, because he has said, when I don't feel effective, I will step down and do something else. So if tomorrow that happens, the company that is John Maxwell's legacy, now called Maxwell Leadership, is in the hands of a group of people that can take it to the next level. And the coaches
continue for generation and generation and generations on.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And it includes now, which I am proud to say I'm a member of, 44,000 coaches that are worldwide. I think they said last in 168 or maybe 186, I'm not real sure, countries around the world where the Maxwell Leadership coaches, speakers, and trainers are now ingrained in the cultures that are there.
Right.
So when I found out that the name of the company had become Maxwell Leadership, the logo of the new Maxwell Leadership has this purple, they call it Maxwell Indigo. I think, is that what it is? It's some kind of fruity name for that. But anyway,
Fruity.
it has like these two arrows going up and to the right showing growth, and the big arrow is supposed to be John Maxwell. The small arrow is smaller, is the group coming behind him.
Right.
So leading up to my certification in March, I had thought about names for the company and gone through a whole bunch of them, and Right Level Leadership is what I kind of landed on.
We love it.
So when the screen comes up, and it was a huge to-do. Matter of fact, I have a baton that everybody, all 3,000 people got, that the idea is John Maxwell is passing the baton to the 44,000 and growing coaches, speakers, and trainers.
Right.
When I saw the logo come up of Maxwell Leadership, and I'm sitting on a company name called Right Level Leadership, I texted my wife immediately and I said, go to GoDaddy and get the domain. I got to have it now.
You knew.
I knew it
Another
was right.
sign.
Yes. And when I saw the logo of the two arrows, I don't know if you've seen the logo of mine, but the Right Level Leadership has the right above the T and or whatever the spelling is, leadership, the P. There is an arrow that the logo designer put that in there, and I was like, this.
You didn't ask for it.
This is not even meant to be. You know what I mean?
Didn't
It's still
ask
good.
for it.
No. This is what she came to me. She had 12 different logos, and I kind of narrowed down. Some of them just didn't feel right, but this was the one we landed on. And I was like, this is meant to be. So that's how it came to be. Right Level Leadership, and Ashley Wright being the president of the company, and following in the Maxwell Leadership curriculum and kind of being a champion for everything that this company stands for, to take it to local companies, big or small, one person to 120 people to 3,000 people,
Right.
To take this curriculum to them and just help them grow and value people and help people take that next step in their leadership journey.
Yeah. So I know we were talking before we came on camera, and you said that there was actually meaning behind the actual name of the company.
Yes.
And that really does, when you explain to them what that meaning is, it really does sum up what you do when you go into these different companies. Explain that to me, because that's pretty amazing. I really liked that.
Okay, so name of the company, again, is just Right Level Leadership. And really, it came from the whole thought process that everybody is able to lead. Years ago, people thought leadership was a born trait, kind of like being able to run the 4-3-40 or something like that, in something athletic. But as time has progressed, leadership can be a learned trait. And if you are part of any group of people, and I'm not talking about a 55,000 person organization, I'm talking about a 3-person family, you have the capacity to lead those individuals that you are in contact with. Now, that could be either positive or negative. And I think we've all been around people that don't really appreciate their leadership style.
Yeah.
But there are also other people that we've been around that just you come away with them thinking, man, I can't wait till the next time I'm with that person,
Right.
Just the way they speak, the way they treat me, the way they value the way that I interact with them is meaningful, and it can be life-changing, quite honestly, for that. So the Right Level Leadership, the level leadership really speaks to where are you in your leadership journey? Because I believe everybody is in different areas of that growth in their life. They can be, you could be at the level of John Maxwell, where he still says he has growth opportunities. I don't really know what he's growing with, but every time I listen to him, I grow
You
from
gain
that.
something.
Yes. Or you can just be starting out, maybe it's you, your husband, and a child, or just a family. And now you've got somebody that you're leading to try to be a positive role model and teach values and teach that way to walk in the world in our society.
It's society based. It's not just at a job.
That is correct.
And that's what some people don't understand. There's leadership in a home. There's leadership in everything you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that speaks to the importance of everybody's at a level in their leadership journey. My goal is to potentially help that go to the next level, and the tagline to the business is unleash your potential. So I truly believe that if there has to be a desire to grow in leadership. And I truly believe that, because if someone does not have that desire and cares nothing about growing in leadership, there's nothing really I or anybody else can't do. It's kind of like the old addict's adage of you can't help yourself until you admit that you want to have help.
Yes.
So you can throw as much material at people that don't want to help themselves and don't want to grow, and really they can take it, and hopefully something will change in them by planting the seeds. And that is a big hope that I have with my influence influence with people, that I'm planting a seed to say things can be better, and the way you interact with people. But the unleash the potential is just to take that full potential in you and grow it, develop it, so that when you interact with people, it's different. People want to know that everybody wants to be led well,
Yes.
And that is a tagline that has come up here recently that is just kind of a war cry for people in the leadership industry of the way you interact with people is so important. And our culture does not value that. It's a big statement, and I know that. But the fact that when you interact with someone who values you as a person, genuinely cares about what you have to say, and that interaction speaks to you in a way that is different than the rest of the society treats you, that speaks volumes for the society we live in. And the example I will give is no plugs, but Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, I think, is a huge entity in our society that does that. Everybody loves a Chick-fil-A sandwich, but the best thing they like is the customer service, it's my pleasure, whenever you interact with these people. And if you listen to any speeches from Dan Cathy or Truett Cathy, which I absolutely love listening to any podcast or reading any books from them, their whole premise is, yes, we got a restaurant, but we want people to feel different coming away from it. And I'm like, why is that not such a influential thing?
Yes. I actually had a conversation with a friend just exactly about that, about Chick-fil-A. And we were laughing because, the big thing is you've got this huge line and it looks so like, it's going to take forever, but it is like the fastest line you can go through.
Yep.
And we were talking and we were like, I think it's because people are happy. People are happy when they're going through that line. They're just moving right along. They're not mopey, and they're not just like driving real slow and barely getting their card out. It's a happy interaction, so it goes so much faster. And it's those little things that matter in life.
Yes. We're
a busy society, but we're not too busy to be nice.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. Yes. So this is the one question that I was like, okay, what's going to be my most favorite question to ask him? And it's going to come back to Maxwell books.
Okay.
Everybody loves Maxwell books.
Okay.
What is your favorite one to teach out of? Because I've read a couple of them. I've read like the 21 Irrefutable Laws, 360 Leadership. I did a class that we did the 360 Leadership. Tell me, which one do you like to read out of and teach out of the most, and why?
So becoming a person of influence.
Yes.
And one of the things that the coaches in Maxwell Leadership tell you is get good at one of the materials, because that was something, and it was so funny because when I first got into it, you can get on their curriculum and go and go and go, and it becomes daunting, But I got bewildered by it. I'm like, this is crazy. You know, how in the world am I going to
condense
present any of
Yeah,
this?
how can you condense it?
Right. But somewhere on one of our coaching calls, mentoring calls, something like that, somebody, it may have been Chris Robinson, made the comment. He's like, get good at something and make it your own. And that way, when you go in to talk to someone or you present material, this is what you lead by because you know it and it is good. So the book is called Becoming a Person of Influence. And I like it so much because it not only talks about leadership values like the 21 irrefutable laws or developing the leader within you 2.0 or things like that that speak directly to leadership. Becoming a person of influence talks about growing the influence that you have with people. Okay. And Maxwell says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If I am influencing you positively or negatively, you're influencing that and you're leading that relationship. Mm-hmm. So if you think about in a business, think about in the culture of something, you know, if I have that, if I'm getting influenced by somebody, they're leading me, you know, and like I said, it can be down the right path or wrong path.
Right.
But the premise behind this is, and I think it's called an acrostic, please forgive me, the English teachers that are out there, but influencer, becoming a person of influence, is an acrostic for all the things that you should think about when you are in that relationship with a person. So, you know, the I stands for having integrity. So first and foremost, you got to trust me, and you got to be. I have to have that integrity in that relationship to know that if we're talking, if you're bringing stuff to me, it's going to be treated with respect. It's going to be valued. Mm-hmm. You know, the N is for nurturing. So when you're in that relationship and you're trying to influence someone, you're nurturing them. You know, you're caring for them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The F is having faith in that person. The L is listening to that person. You know, so it goes on and on. But every one of those letters speak, well, when I read the book and when I got into the curriculum and I've done some masterminds and things like that, it just resonates with me so greatly that it's kind of like if everybody would pick this up and get this.
Would.
I know. But it's so good. But I have tried to be careful not to get into a niche with the certain industry that I want to influence or people that or group of people that I want to go, because with this curriculum, everybody. It is. Yes. And like I said, it could be for the mom and pop shop downtown that they just don't have the capacity to, hey, I'd like to have some of this information shared with my employees so that customer service is better, or the way we interact with each other is better, or things like that. Or it could be huge organizations that have, 700 people on staff, but the leadership needs a little bit of just refresh. Nothing in this leadership material is going to be, well, I've never heard that before. Mm-hmm. Most people have heard this stuff, but you forget it along the way.
It hasn't stuck.
Right. So my intent is just to bring it back to the front. Let people understand and remind them how important it is to lead this way. And when you interact with people, make it so important. So yes, so Becoming a Person of Influence is my favorite curriculum, my favorite book.
Okay, so now everybody needs to go get it because I am telling you, his books are phenomenal, but now we know the one to start with, right?
Yes.
We're going to take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
The Hive at Lavender Estate, the sweetest place to be in Sumter, South Carolina, just off of North Main. Contact us at lavenderfieldestate@gmail.com or find us at lavenderfieldestate.com.
Greybird Media is your one-stop shop for videography, DJ services, and photo booth. Let us be a part of your next event. Find us on the web at Greybird, that's gray with an E, greybirdmedia.com.
Thanks to our sponsors, The Hive at Lavender Estate and Greybird Media. And now, back to our show.
I heard you say the word masterminding, and I was looking over your social media page, your website, and you have different pieces that you can teach. Like masterminding is one of them. Explain that to us.
So I'll be perfectly honest with you. Mastermind was something I had never even heard about until I started, and this is before I kind of got into Maxwell Leadership. Mm-hmm. This was just trying to follow some of the classes or podcasts that that are offered through Maxwell Leadership that you can do away from being a part of the team. But they started throwing around this thing called mastermind. I'm like, what in the world is that? And the more I found out about it, it's nothing more than a glorified book club. I mean, that's it.
Okay.
Now, mastermind sounds all technical and very regal, and that's why I like mastermind, you know, because it sounds like, okay, I'm offering something that a neighborhood can't have, but it can, you know.
Right.
The mastermind is a group of people coming together to discuss the material of this book, whatever book it may be, and learning from each other. The value in the mastermind really comes from being interactive in the material first and foremost, but the conversations that come out of it, you know.
That's where you learn.
Exactly. What
Kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yes.
Just learning from each other in a very relaxed setting.
Right.
Okay.
Because when you share your experiences of a topic that we read about, and I share mine, you know, there may be agreement, there may be disagreement, you know, and that's healthy. And some of the things that we talk about are the value in the conversations come from your experience in your walk of life and how that has impacted you, because I may not have ever encountered that. But because you have, now I can learn from it. And some of the principles in the book, it doesn't really matter what book or what material we're reading. Hopefully it's meant to grow you in a way that you've not been intentional about before.
Right.
And you know, when you're in a group of people, and typically the masterminds are 10 to 15 people, so it doesn't get so big or it doesn't get intimidating for someone, because you want people to share. So the premise behind that is just group conversation, sharing what you have learned through your reading and studying, and everybody growing because of that interaction.
Right. And you said neighborhood. So, I mean, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a business level. Like, if there was a community where parents wanted to be better leaders for their children, this is a great jump in for them.
Yep.
They could put something together like that.
Yep.
I love that. It's you have something for big, you have something for small, but you also have something for the everyday person that's out there. Yep. Okay. Mastermind, I know, was one of them.
Okay.
Take me to another one. I know you had different levels of things that you teach and how you teach it.
Okay.
Teach us another one that you do.
Okay, so another concept, which I think everybody kind of knows, is like a lunch and learn. So lunch and learn is an opportunity to kind of hit on maybe just a couple topics. So like I said, influencer has becoming a person of influence has 10 chapters. The 15 irrefutable laws of growth. I'm sorry, that's not right. 15 laws. That has 15 chapters on that. 21 laws of leadership. There's 21 laws. A lunch and learn may take 2 of those laws that, through a discovery meeting that I would have with a company leader, which it be HR or the president or the plant manager or whatever it would be, a discovery meeting to say, okay, we're struggling with this. You know, do you have anything that you could come in and just give us some insight into this? One or two topics. Yes. So around a lunch and learn, obviously it's very nice. Everybody loves to be fed. And if you're eating
Chick-fil-A,
something.
please.
Yeah, there you go. If you're being fed, people are usually nicer and they're more open because their belly's getting fed. But through the lunch and learn, it's kind of a round table setting for an hour to an hour and a half, not a whole lot of time, but you come in, I would deliver curriculum at a certain level that just says, hey, I understand that this is a struggle, or this is something that I want you to think about, and such brought me in, and this is what we're going to talk about over this. Enjoy your lunch, but it's going to be interactive. We got to have some feedback because I want to know where you are and how you feel when we talk about this in your culture, where you work. And I think through that, and one of the things I try to make so important that people that I'm coming in to help is to help them understand is I don't have all the answers, you know, and I have failed in my career miserably time after time. But
it's not about having all the answers.
Exactly.
It's about, here's a little guide of how to help you go to that next level with these principles.
Yes. And through some of the learnings that I've been exposed to and things like that, when you get into these environments, one of the things that I pull out is, okay, what is your vision? What is your mission statements? And how are you doing against that? Some people don't even know what their vision statements are for their
Ouch.
companies. And that is a scary place to be
It
because,
is.
you know, I've been in leadership for a long time. And one of the things that has always been important to me, and I've always had kind of dictated to me as important of what is the vision statement and what is your mission? If you're not working towards that, you are not, first of all, you're probably not working for a common goal.
Right.
But second of all, you're not doing what the company
You
is
don't have a
asking
why
you to do.
or what.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You've not discovered your why. So I don't want to bring a culture with me when I come in doing a lunch and learn or a mastermind or a leadership training. I want to find out what they're supposed to know. And then I will look at the curriculum that I have to offer and I will match that up with something in the vision statement or something in the mission that says, this is why this is important. This is your why. This is how you interact with whoever you interact with and why it's so important. And oh, by the way, this is what your company wants you to do, you know, and this is why it's important.
Right.
So, yeah.
And having Maxwell, their materials and things, I know everybody doesn't know, but like you said, he's been for so many years. There's so much to pull from. I guess that probably helps you a lot in not teaching the same thing over and over and over because you have this large range of material that you can pull from to get your message across.
Yeah, and I try to make it as kind of as centered on a particular curriculum as I possibly can. But you're exactly. I mean, I think he's up to 86 books, and obviously you're not going to teach on 86 books,
There's
but
no
there
way.
are principles that somewhere along the way that I've heard, whether I've read the books or been on. So we have mentor training every day, really every day of every week if you want it. And there's podcasts and there's, you know, these stand-up meetings that we have where it's just basically nuggets of material that people share. And you just kind of put those away. And in these interactions that you have with people or the conversation, so it really gets good when you get an interactive group because the conversation fosters so much. You know, if it's just me standing up talking and I'm just presenting the material, it gets dry. It gets very long-winded.
Are you saying you're boring?
I'm not trying to be boring, but I love interaction, you know? And if people are talking back to me and we're able to have a conversation, to me, that's where the nuggets come out. That's where the gold
Absolutely.
is. Because someone is showing concern or somebody is starting to make the connections and the dots of, I've never heard it put that way, you know? And when you walk into that environment, you are looking for how you can help people connect those dots that they may already know, but something clicks in the conversation or in their heads that just makes a huge difference for them. And they become a better person. They become a better employee. They become a better family member for hearing the information and then being willing to grow from it.
Grab it, take it, use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you're talking about leadership, it's such a broad word.
Yes, yes.
But if I said to you, okay, I need my team to know, like, what is the basic part of how they can begin to grow? Like, we're talking about somebody that is fresh in the company. They know nothing. They're just in off the street and they think they are a leader. But we all know that we're not always the leaders we think we should be, you know, that we are. So what would you say to that person that needed that jump into being the best leader they can be in their life?
So you said a key word, and I think it's growth. So, and I will be perfectly transparent. Growth for me for the longest time has just been, well, I'm learning new stuff, you know, and that's a computer So in work, it was a computer program. Maybe it was a different piece of equipment. It was processors or something like that. But okay, if you ask me what I'm growing in that. But what I have found is that the difference between learning and growth is fundamentally different. I can learn a new trait. I can learn a new trade. I can learn something, you know, new that I have not known before.
Right.
when I am being intentional about growing, I am growing something inside of me. I am making myself different.
Better.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully different in a better direction.
Yes.
But for those people coming in or somebody that is getting into a leadership role, say they've become a supervisor, or now they have a group of 2 or 3 direct reports and they have never been in that position before. The first question I would say to that person is, are you willing to grow? And if you are, what are you doing to grow yourself? And if they look at you like a deer in the headlights, which is perfectly fine, because I will tell you, if you asked a lot of people, what's your growth plan? What are you doing to grow yourself? Mm-hmm. They either would not have one, or it would be like I told you before, well, I'm learning this and I'm learning that. But the growth aspect of that is, no. How are you changing yourself to become a better person in this world?
I love that question. Say it again.
So what are you doing? What I don't even know what I said now.
What are you doing to grow yourself in this world?
Right.
That's putting it a whole different way.
Yes.
I love that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So when you ask that question and that person comes back to you and says, I've never thought about that, now you've got kind of an open door that says, well, are you willing to learn, and are you willing to grow? Now you got the catalog open to where does it start? You know, one of the fundamental things that that we talk about in Maxwell Leadership is the growth laws. You know, and that is so fundamental because it just talks about becoming a better person, not in business, just basically a better person in this world. And being intentional about it, you know, and a lot of it does go back to how do you interact with people? Are you listening to people? Are you present when you talk to people? And when you talk about, or when you're in those circles or in those conversations, are you genuinely trying to either help that person, value that person, you know, and have that kind of relationship rather than just very, very surface and very...
Hey, how are you? See you the next time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Come see me if you need any help.
Right. But do you mean that from your gut? You're just saying something that you say to everybody every day.
Right.
And, you know, I'm listening to you and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's sitting here teaching me things because, like, you know, I have a business plan. I know what I want to do with my business. Me and my husband are very intentional about at the beginning of the year, taking that time to make sure we plan our lives together for the next year. But I don't think I've ever sat down and wrote down, this is what Jennifer is going to do to be better this year. You know, it's always been a group thing for me with a business or with my home or, so you just like, you know, like I just took that to heart. So I appreciate that.
All
so look at you teaching me
I'm
something
not that
today.
influence. See, we're talking about becoming a person of influence.
See,
there you go.
I told you when you came in, I was super excited about you being here today because I know that you're a wealth of information. But the thing is not only are you a wealth of information, but you're a wealth of information that's willing to share it with other people because that is a big thing. There can be leaders. Very good example. A lot of people know that I'm retired sheriff's deputy. Well, in a sheriff's department, you have leaders because they have those stripes or they have that on around their collar. But a lot of those leaders don't want to share their knowledge. They keep it to themselves. Well, that's not very good leadership. I mean, you have to teach to be able to pass on to the next generation. And, you know, we've had people on the show before that they were like in the young professionals here in Sumter. And I just think about that younger generation. If we're not passing on that quality leadership to them and helping them grow as people, what is our future society going to look like?
Yep.
You know, and I think that younger generation today really could use some deep dive into some of this material like this because it is just, like you said, it's nuggets of things that you have to specifically have someone that cares enough to pour into you for you to hear it. And I think that's what you are. You're one of those people that will just absolutely pour your heart and soul into, here's what I've learned, let me share it with you. And I love that. And that's fantastic. So, let's go back to your business specifically.
Okay.
So you decided to jump in, you jumped in, you got your training, you're back here in Sumter, and now how's it going?
Well, it's good. So I basically the thing that because it is so new, the thing that I basically have to have as a mantra is to keep sowing the seeds.
Yes.
And when I say sow the seeds, that is talking to people about the business because I am a true believer that this business grows through opening doors. You know, you get into one group of people, maybe this podcast opened doors.
Hope so.
I hope so too. But people hear the message and what I'm trying to do, and they invite you in. And through that, somebody in that group that you're talking to or interacting with says, you know what, this could be really good for my group. So
Absolutely.
now 1 becomes 2, and then 2 becomes 4, and then 4 becomes 8. And pretty soon, you know, then the network is there, and you're helping those people that need your support in their community. So I just keep walking. I mean, sowing the seeds is probably the most important thing for me to do right now, and interact with people. You know, shameless plug. I became a member of the Sumter Chamber of Commerce.
We love the chamber.
Yes,
so that's
we do.
amazing.
Yes, we do.
I love the chamber. I'm a member. Our production, Greybird Media, they're a member. That's a great organization right here local that just it's all about networking.
Exactly.
Which
And
is how I met you.
yes,
by
it
the
is.
way.
Yes, it is.
So there is a tried and true, hey, this really does work.
Yep. But that was something very intentional that I did to try to just talk to people about what I'm doing. You know, I mean, it's one thing for me to just be one person and try to interact with somebody at Walmart and say, hey, would you like help? Or
Yeah, that's kind of just creepy.
It is kind of creepy, yeah. But when you're in a group of or setting of professionals that everybody, quite honestly, you know, would love to have someone intentional coming into them just to listen to what they're saying or help them at whatever level it is. That's where I truly believe that interaction can help me. So it's just sowing the seeds and making that difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can we find you? Are you on social media? If we wanted to set something up with you, please tell the listeners.
Yep. So I do have a website. It is my Maxwell Leadership website. I do have a email address. It's Ashley at rightlevelleadership.com. Very easy to remember. But I am local, and like I said, that's probably the 2 easiest places to get me for getting a gig or just talking. I mean, I go back to the discovery meeting because I want to have that as the kickoff. You know, me walking into someone's office or setting and just saying, "Where can I help you? What are you struggling with?" And let me learn from you first and foremost.
Skin it down to the basic.
And then let me go back and think about what I've got, and then I'll come back with a proposal that says, okay, this can be something good for you, and I think this could help. So that's probably the 2 easiest places or ways to get to.
And you said local, but would you travel if someone came to you and said, hey?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, so it was interesting. So home for me is Rockingham, North Carolina. So that's where I went to junior high school,
I'm a North Carolina girl.
Yep.
See? Look at us.
So I went back and I talked to some old colleagues and people I've known throughout my life, and I've had the chance to interact with 2 people back home, like literally Rockingham, North Carolina.
Nice.
So, trying to set up something with them and work with them with their companies. So yeah, I mean, I really don't want to say there is no jurisdiction of where I would go, but yeah, if there's a need, I would be more than happy to help really anybody.
Awesome.
So,
I
yeah.
love it.
Yep.
Now, we're not trying to give you away because we want you
Okay,
here
I
in
appreciate
Sumter,
that.
okay?
I appreciate
But we will share you.
Okay, all right.
So we will put all those links in our, so that our listeners can find you, know where to go to get to you. I hope you get a lot of people call you and say, hey, I need you, because what you are offering is top of the notch leadership. And we need that. Everybody needs it.
Yep.
I really appreciate you being here,
Oh,
Ashley.
it's been a
This has
pleasure.
been amazing.
Yep.
And I hope you will think about maybe coming back again and doing like a little lesson for us.
No,
of
that would
some
be awesome.
sort.
I would
It
love
be
to
awesome.
do that.
I would love that. So
Yep.
we will have to get together, check our schedules, and maybe make that happen. Okay.
Sounds
All right.
good. Sounds good.
I guess that is the end of another episode of Business Gold, a business leader's journey. This has been an absolute incredible amount of information for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. I know I have, and I can't wait to see you guys the next time.
That's it for this episode of Business Gold. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you tune in again. We release new episodes every Tuesday, so definitely come back. And while you're here watching on YouTube, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and reach out to us at podcast.businessgold@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.